There are different models for Christians. We suffer before we depart. The family places useful things inside the coffin for the trip, such as food, drinks, anything. There was a person who liked to smoke, and they buried him with a cigarette in his mouth.
The deceased are usually carried around the town so that everyone has a chance to say goodbye. They make detours in order to confuse the deceased so that he doesn't remember the way back, in case he is tempted to harm the living.
A whale in the sea is the supreme of all the fishes. There is no fish that is more bigger or more stronger than the whale is. So being a very great chief fisherman, it is the National Fishermen Council who decided to buy the whale.
Finally, the funeral procession arrives at the cemetery. After waiting 11 months to celebrate the burial, however, some details have been overlooked. The coffin is larger than the grave, and the whale's tail has to be cut so that it fits in the hole. The Dogon ethnic group has 8 souls of both sexes that they share with the Bozo ethnic group. In their settlements, the fermentation of alcohol is identified with the deceased. The deceased who haven't formally left to join their ancestors and whose souls wander around the town are those who provoke beer fermentation. Their effects are a warning for the living from the dead so that they begin the ceremonies that consecrate their passage to the rank of ancestor.
The burial is celebrated as soon as the elderly person dies, and the funeral is carried out after the millet harvest. We only celebrate a death in this way when the person who has died is old, meaning that he or she is over the age of 50. The death of a minor is never celebrated.
Once the funeral is held for someone who is considered dead, he is not accepted among the living, even if he returns. The family will deny that they know him, and that person will be destined to live in poverty.
Today we have not brought the Kanaga mask out since we have not collected the millet yet. If the cadaver were a woman who died during childbirth, her widower would have to make love to a stranger in order to cleanse his soul, even if he has to rape her to do so.
It's unthinkable when you see them like this, their little hands that are so perfect and everything is so perfect, to think that they are going to die at some point. I can't imagine it. She's quite a sweetie. Her name is Dipapalo, and she's 2.5 years old, and she's blind. This is Tuli, and her name means quiet, but she's not. Are you tired? You want to sleep? Yes. It's good to sleep, eh? He was very, very ill, but he's now on antiretroviral treatment, and that's why he's quite big and strong. Can you see over there? And over here? Here? Can you see the glands? And it's quite painful because it's hard and it's swollen.
Sparrow Rainbow Village was the first residential development in the world to be established to meet the needs of terminally ill AIDS patients. It continues to be the only one in Africa. Sparrow Rainbow Village is almost a city, and its 500 inhabitants, who are mostly children, are fighting to shake off the threat of death.
This is our tree of remembrance, and you can have a look. Not all of the sparrows are on. Basically, all these little sparrows with the little names on and the date of birth and the date of passing away are done in remembrance of those people whom we've lost in the last 10 years. There should be over 700 of these little sparrows on the tree. We've lost over 700 patients in the last 10 years, and it would be significant to put them up here as a tree of remembrance, because these are the people that did not quite make it.
Of the 36 million people who were infected with AIDS in the year 2000, 30 million were Africans. Treatment to stop the effects of AIDS cost €1,000 per person per year. %90 of the people infected with AIDS in Africa do not have medical insurance or the means to pay for treatment. All of these children are orphans infected with the HIV virus whose parents died because of AIDS. Today, there are approximately 1 million orphans in this situation in South Africa.